All right, what is up, guys? CJ here, and we are back with episode 4 of the Foundation Challenge. For those that don't know, here is the challenge. We're not going to go over it again, it's covered in the first 3 episodes. For a slight recap, we'll go over what we covered in trading in the zone last episode. We're not going to go over it today, but like we are setting the foundation of our models, we are setting the foundation of our psychology, which is equally as important. And today we are going to add another piece to that psychology, which is something I want to be calling Wyckoff waves, aka price action surfing or price action transurfing, as we're going to be looking at here today. This is based on the book Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeeland. If you haven't read this book, you could come back to this video after you have, or this will be interesting if you do read it up afterwards. But we're going to take a look at our last piece that I want to integrate into Mark Douglas's work. Obviously, this is going to be an ever expanding psychology game, but we're going to add another piece to what we covered last week with trading in the zone. And then we were going to go over the last week, the trades that we took, the trades that we missed or didn't take, and then we're going to finish with a little bit of pre-planning for this week. It is currently Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. I've been on a road trip. I'm going to road trip across the country, basically, to Florida. And yesterday was my first day of the drive from Calgary, Alberta, stopping in my hometown for a brief moment in time, set up the monitor, and we're gonna get right into it. So, Wyckoff waves. We are Wyckoff traders. We are as TCT traders. We are out there. We are looking to ride these essential waves in the market that we can recognize. Reality transurfing trading application. The number one thing we must have is the unshakable will to win. Every trade, we are here to win. We just have the unshakable will. We do not have any desire, though. Any desire that we must win trades just feeds into quote unquote pendulums. And now this is from the book, basically energy sucking things that are found all around the world. They're basically things that want to suck your energy and feeds on your energy. So any desire that we must win trades feeds into them and will create what's called excess potential. This is something you do not want to create energetically, and it will lower the probability of your model working due to an imbalance in the energy. And something called balanced forces they're always looking to restore balance. So if your desire is too much, and I know this can sometimes contradict some things that, like Think and Grow Rich, this is another layer deeper where you have to be careful with that desire. And so we are looking to avoid this. And we'll get into ways that we can and the mindset that we can. I have here, this can be tougher with funded challenges where you have a drawdown limit, where you're thinking, oh, I need this trade to win, or I'm getting closer on my drawdown. I need this trade to win. We want to be careful of that. The foundation challenge, by principle, should be exempt from this and work to install this mindset more easily. This is a huge reason for the foundation challenge. Maybe some that don't understand it. I almost didn't understand it. I thought it was almost beneath me to do it at the time, which is exactly why I need to do it. Funded challenges need to be viewed as a compression dojo where failure doesn't mean the end, but just sparring and reset for another challenge. If you somehow happen to fail, just keep executing with the same mindset. Entering trades will now have the ritual connecting to the breath once a high probability setup is in the process of confirming a model. So connecting to the breath, there's definitely something between trading and breathing, breath work, essentially, but being conscious of the breath, noticing compression in the body, tension in the body in the entering process, and really becoming aware of that, connecting back to the breath as your home base, and just executing our models consistently. Upon a confirmation within the system, we enter without hesitation, with risk in check. This is automatic for this challenge, that's why it's in there. Dispassionately, very crucial. Dispassionately, calm, and throwing what in this book is known as a slide, which is basically a visualization of something you wish to come true. And can be used for all sorts of things in trading. When we enter and we see the model, obviously we have a view of how this model is going to work. So we will just throw a slide or a visualization of the trade playing out perfectly in our minds while not being attached to the outcome. We're not saying, oh, it has to be like this. I'm going to force this chart up with my mind, because ultimately the market doesn't even know you're in. But what you can potentially and want to be is on a lifeline where that trade is playing out for you. Because again, we have the unshakable will to win. We're entering these trades to win. Our view. A very little song switch up there. We view the market from a playful stance and recognize it as a game, focusing on our execution, model probabilities, and enjoying being in trades whether they win or lose. You know, if we just view the market from a playful stance, it'll be a lot easier. Continually cultivate the will to win and to keep winning. So when we win, you know, it's not like, oh, the next trade we maybe have to lose. Any of those thoughts, we just keep cultivating the will to win. Very important next point on authenticity, and I've found this in my trading journey. We have to go our own path. Do not follow another path or door that is not for you, or follow another trader's path. This is not authenticity, and we want to always be our most authentic selves. So, you know, however this looks like in trading, for me, this looks like not blindly taking other traders' trades. It never works out, and it's not the path. Enjoy the trading journey and view it as a privilege. It's a privilege to do this every day. Enjoy being in the present moment, and that is the only place that opportunity lies in the market, is in the present moment. There's nowhere else. There's only the present where you're entering trades. And that goes back to Mark Douglas as well, the now moment that he talks about, basically the present moment. On the journey, do not stress or force. Use the attitude of putting one foot in front of the other with the dispassionate attitude you would have when getting the newspaper. So I want to explain this, and this is a main point in this book on how to manifest your desires, basically, or to get what you want in life, is you must have the attitude that you would have on getting the newspaper. So you have the intention, oh, I'm going to get the newspaper, and you just walk and get it. We have to have that same attitude. The newspaper, in this case, is our trading goals. So whether it's a funded challenge or whatever, we just wake up every day and do what we need to do to achieve that goal, not stress about it, not force it, but and what that looks like for us, one foot in front of the other, is identifying models and executing the proper way with the other things that we have discussed. So very crucial point, and a very interesting attitude and mindset shift. It's very different from, I say, Think and Grow Rich, burning desire. You know, I need to have this so badly. You know, this book really changes the game, and it's probably why it's not as widely known or available, because there's definitely something to this mindset switch, and it's not wanting it as much, it's potentially more so the actual code to achieving it properly. So very important point there. And lastly, when we're scouting the market, it is like we're paddling out into the ocean, sitting and waiting for the waves, as they do in surfing. Wyckoff waves, in the market's case, to ride into profits. Sometimes you will get up and ride, sometimes you will fall. Each model, like each wave, will be unique. Over time, the edge in spotting the good-looking waves will make you profitable. So our last piece that we're going to add to our mental toolbox is Wyckoff waves, price action transurfing, applying reality transurfing, the book, to trading, which I think there's a lot of crossover. So without further ado, we are going to get into the trades we took. We'll take a look at our journal here. So this is updated. We've only taken one trade, and it was a loss on SUI. But there was a lot of other things going on that I want to touch on. So we're gonna take a look at the Sui trade right here that we attempted to take. We were watching this confluence, but as you can see, not the best POI here, and we end up, and see, this is funny, and it's great to happen on the foundation challenge because, you know, it's reasonable to assume that we get tested with our mentals, and you can see from the start here we got 3 losses. You could argue the news trade shouldn't be included. It was kind of a little bit more exploratory, but I did choose to include it because we did take it. So 3 losses and 2 break-even trades is not how you want to start, but we were watching this in confluence with Sui here. I'm going to get rid of USDT. I just wanted to showcase that. This was the model we attempted right here, though, on Sui, which resulted in a loss. And I wanted to highlight, sometimes people talk about leverage in a play. Oh, like the leverage doesn't matter, just fill your positions. If you're losing on a trade where the candle is very aggressive, like this candle shot down here, I probably got filled down here. I probably lost 50% more. Like if we come to the journal here, it's just something to note. Obviously it doesn't matter at all. We're not using any risk, but it's just something to note when you start using a lot more that we risked $10 on this trade and lost 15. That's a 50%. So maybe getting the leverage a little less and just using more margin, because obviously if we weren't on 44x here, we would have lost less on this trade. But just something to note about the leverage. But this was a very beautiful trade here on Sui, just strictly model wise. Obviously you don't want to be getting in the longs rate as the market's about to crash, which is what happened here. You know, it kind of got up and fell, referencing the wave surfing analogy. But very beautiful model to extended here, where we got that EL sweep, break a structure back to bullish right here, entered on this break. We had some initial follow through, thought we were going to get the sweep of this liquidity, and then the market just instantly sold off right there and resulted in a loss for us. So you may be thinking, oh, you only took 1 trade, what were we getting up to? But I'm going to show a trade on Aave here. Now, we took this as an exploratory trade, didn't really take this. It's not part of the foundation challenge, but there was another short that we're going to talk about that happened around this time that should have been taken for the challenge. But I just wanted to highlight this, though this wasn't an actual position, we can really back test this. Getting taken out before the move, sloppy stop loss potentially, entering right here on this break of structure after we're getting the SFP, but probably should have put the stop loss above here. So just something to note. And then if you want to see how this trade played out, we were looking for a DEC here on Aave, where this is your accumulation DEC into this extreme point for the continuation. But I just want to talk about if we were actually taking this trade, refining the stop loss to a better spot and keeping some of the position open just in case the accumulation fails. Then we were covered for the downside, just how we would have played this. I don't know what target we would have targeted here, but obviously you can see we had a nice crash there with Bitcoin sweeping some sell side liquidity, and then we're watching this locally on Aave. We'll get into the current plays that we're watching, but this is a play I really want to highlight here on a coin called FC in my mind, Fart Coin. This coin, this was around the same time as Aave, but this was an actual play here if we want. You know, I have a video breaking down this model in the backtesting series, but we kind of came into some sort of higher time frame market maker supply. There was nothing refined on the lower time frame, but we had this model here, and this would have greatly changed the game. You got that push up on Asia, break structure back to bearish, and then you're seeing the follow through here. You had this trade taking place in the premium section of your range too, with a naked low, so you could definitely just be targeting this low, and that's a 27 RR. So with this system, you can really catch some big waves. In this case, this would have been where you can greatly just change the whole game. You know, you get a 27, obviously you would realize something like, say, even realizing like 10 to 15 RR. You just got to get that first one on the board. Just greatly changes it. You know, we literally opened and went lower here on our equity curve. Very, very early in the game. For those that haven't been here, or I'm not sure exactly who's watching this. It's maybe more for the future, but we had this trade, super nice trade on ETH, where we lost. And then we had see if we can load here. This trade on Hype, missed a take profit, super beautiful model, TCT within TCT, and then we end up break even trade there. So sometimes it kind of just feels like we're fighting here, but beautiful trade here on Uni. News, really thought we were going to. There's another break even trade right there. And then on the news, we tried a news trade here on Sui, just went lower. And for those familiar with this model, it actually blasted right up to target after stopping this out. Blast right to target. So we took a loss there, and then we tried Sui again with this beautiful model. And we ended up getting stopped out after a nice push up, not sweeping the liquidity. Market needed to go lower. So we've been kind of just taking interesting models, but now it's, you know, we're ready for another model, and we're just going to keep the consistency up. So to end the video here, I'm going to show a little bit what we're watching for this day. We got BCH here, where you had Bitcoin completing an accumulation right here. And if we are going to trend higher, I'm watching BCH as a lagging play. And then on the short side, we have Aave here, where Aave is pretty interesting if Bitcoin wants lower, because if we get, you know, a nice RTZ push up into this POI right here, which is a great POI to be watching, we can get that rotation potentially down to this sell side and this naked low right here. So I'd definitely be watching this level. But all right, guys, I think that's going to conclude episode 4. Nothing too much happening, more so just laying some more mental foundation, you could say. And that is also part of this challenge, just as much as the TA. So, you know, we're gonna wrap it up there, and I'm excited for the next trade. I'm excited to see how over 20 trades. I didn't know how this challenge was gonna start off. Obviously, it's not how you draw it up with the performance, but hey, that's why we have 20 trades. We have 15 more trades, and we're gonna see where we are after that 20th trade. So, peace, guys.